I think they came up with some law or something where we couldn't FI or something.
What's FI mean?
Field investigation card.
You couldn't just talk to people for no reason.
Well, you couldn't, and document them as gang members, just because they were living in a certain area, which I understood, because I tried to stay away from that anyway, because I knew how in the hood you could be labeled just for associating and not necessarily a banger or down. So I guess AAU or something came up with something. So they disbanded us for a minute, and I went to patrol for a little while and did some training. But then when I came back, it was just getting crazy, and the chief put me back into the gang unit, I'll call it the gang. I had a guy named Pena, he worked with me for a little while. But it was really starting to increase, 88, 87, 88, 88. I mean, the warfare was like crazy because of the money that they were making and the weaponry. You know how rapid, how automatic it was with the certain things. So it got crazy. So I needed help, and so finally got Bobby Ladd. I kind of chose him because he seemed interested in what was going on, and he was pretty sharp. From Garden Grove somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, this white boy, what he know? But he was inquisitive, about what was going on and wanted to know. So I finally talked to Chief and to let Bobby work with me, even though he didn't speak no Spanish. But we worked together for about 10 months, me and Bobby. But he always was talking about this guy, Brennan, Brennan this, Brennan that. I started noticing Brennan was in patrol, asking us these same questions to me and coming and popping up at gang scenes and stuff, had interest. So Bobby Ladd said, hey man, I want to work with him. I think we'll work good together. I caught flack because I put them both together right quick. I said, okay, I'll take Tim because of Ladd. But then I was catching a lot of flack from the blacks. They were talking about, you don't give us a chance and you got two white boys. But what they didn't understand, within 2 months or 3 months of them working the streets, Ladd and Brennan, them brothers would they started getting so much intel, and they knew how to talk to them. They knew how to relate to
How is that? How would you know?
And just don't come down so hard. You know what I'm saying? You ain't kicking ass, taking name, almost like LAPD when they adopted Crash. It was all about, you don't talk to them, you don't baby, you don't get no intel.
Roughing them up and stuff. That doesn't
hook them up and shut them up. Yeah. Shut them up and hook them up. I got in a big argument with some LAPD guys at a court because they saw me in the hallway talking like you and I would talk. Right. And boy, they try to come up to me and chastise me. But that was their philosophy of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But they
community outreach, what they might call.
Yeah, exactly. But it was relating a little bit. Not giving them anything, but relating where that you can deal with it, where they respect you as much as they would respect the police. But you expect that in a neighborhood with Chicanos and blacks, you expect them to give that kind of respect to a Chicano or a brother. And for the most part they would. But these were two white boys that got the job done, and they were coming a lot of intel. But like I said, a lot of brothers got mad, but I fought it. And, when they were trying to change it up. And them two were so dynamic and so complimentary to each other. Bobby is the easygoing, a little more laid back type, but direct and intellectual person. Tim was like me. On fire, your hair on fire. Everything is like, you see me talking, that's how me and him were.
My only interaction with Tim Brennan, he hung up on me. I swear. It was a group call with me and him and Bobby. It was like a Zoom. And just like 5 minutes into the call, Tim was just like, I'm out of here. And he like left me and Bobby to talk to each other. And Bobby's kind of like, Bobby's the more chilled, definitely way more chill and affable.
Tim was just like, that. But talking about, God forgive, rest in peace, But brain thing to take him out, he had a brain. Talking about a writer, can't nobody write reports like Tim Brennan. I call them my two soul sons, my illegitimate white kids. I took to them because they made me. Them two, as far as the streets, intels, solving cases, and it'll be right there for me. I got out there and I had a philosophy that they adopted, and it worked for them. and it worked for all of us. So those were two of the best things that ever happened to a gang unit in Compton. Those two things, not things, people.
What are some reasons that a gang member would become an informant? Obviously, he's in a jam, needs to give information, get out of a jam, but are there other reasons that, I mean, because sometimes informants would just call up Ladd and Brennan and give them information for, you know what I mean? Just, hey, this is going on. What was the reason?
Because they always owed them. A lot of them cats that would call them and they work them, and they got along so well together because they didn't lie to guys, they didn't abuse them. You know how some cops get what they want, then all of a sudden they discard.
Drop them, yeah.
They wasn't like that. They kept them on the hook, and eventually cats that didn't have a direct involvement on something they would be working, Bobby and Brennan, the other guys that just know about it or got the street information on it would share it with Bobby and them. When you say guys would for no reason just call them and tell them information, I always term that snitching.
Right.
And that's how I got so many confessions and stuff like that of guys involved with other people. I would tell them, hey man, snitching is when you just call up and just start talking and rattling about something you have not. But if you caught in a bind or you about to get jammed up or whatever, and you want to at least get the record straight, that's what you need to do. That ain't snitching.